And welcome to a Greater You show. And I'm your host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantz, here again on IntellectualRadio.com. And we are iHeart Station. And you can also hear us on any of your podcasts. Wherever you get podcasts, you can hear any of our shows here Sunday through Saturday. So you can hear any of the shows that we have here. So I'm here and we're the station that feed your brain. So I'm doing my part today to help feed your brain and help share some good information with you in regards to what we do. So this is a Greater You show, the self-help show to help you become better, be better, do better in your life, in any area of your life where you want to apply the information. And so every month we do a different topic on this show based on a book that I've written. And this week or this month, we're on the topic of habits, living with better habits. And based on the book you see here, My Habits Rule. And how to turn bad habits into good habits and turn good habits into great habits. So that's what we'll be talking about today. So we went over several different things. This is part 5. And you know how to do a recap of what we talked about the first 4 parts. So part 1, we talked more something about how everything you do habits. There's not a day that you're awake and alive that you're not doing habits. I mean, you eat your food the same way, you drive your car the same way, you wash your face the same way. Everything you do throughout the day are habits. You may be unconscious of it, but you're still doing it anyway. And we also talked about how the habits that you have will make a big impact on the person you will become. If you don't like the person you have become, then you need to do some different habits. And the reason why you are the person you are, a large part of that has to do with the habits that you've done. Also, we said because habits are your behavior, behave. And so since they make an impact on who you will be, they also make an impact on what you will have. If you don't like what you have, then that means you shouldn't like the habits that you're doing. If you want to be someone better than you are, that means you're going to have to get habits better than you have in order so you can be someone better than you are and also have some things better than what you have and your behavior. That means you're going to have to do something with your habits. We also talked about in part 1 how you have some self dignity, and every time you do bad habits, it erodes away your self dignity. Bad habits is a sure way to make sure that you end up being embarrassed in life. Most of your embarrassment moments in life have come because of your bad habits that you've done. So those are some things we talked about in part 1. Part 2, part 1 was based on lesson 1 and chapter 1 in the book. Part 2, we came from lesson 5 in the book, and we where you live, and we talked about the law of compounding and how the law of compounding is building behavior. So every day you're building behavior, either good or bad, based on the habits that you're doing. So the habits that you do will determine the type of where you actually live. You and I live in our habits. You live in your habits, I live in mine. That's just the truth of the matter. And if you want to know where you live, not your address on Main Street, but if you want to know where you live in life, then all you need to do is look at the habits that you're doing because they would dictate or determine where you actually living now. Bad habits will make sure you live a bad life, and good habits will make sure you live a good life. We also reiterated and said quite a few things that good habits will not allow you to live a bad life, and bad habits will not allow you to live a good life. So if you want to live a good life, then you're going to have to stop doing bad habits and do more good habits. We also made the point that you should write down some of your good habits, that you have. I know this may sometimes be a challenge for some people because the only time they think of habits is they only think of the bad ones they have. They don't think of the good ones that they have too. So write down some of the good habits that you have, and then write down some of the good habits that you want to have. You may see a friend, a family member, or someone else that's doing a good habit. Write that habit down because that may be a habit. If that's a habit that you want to do, you may not be doing it right now, but obviously that's important that you write it down so you can see some good habits that you want to do, and then you need to start doing them. Okay, so part 3 of this series that we're doing, we came from lesson 17 or chapter 17, and we talked about the how your habits are strengthening behavior, the law of enforcement, and that every time you do a habit is enforcing you into the lifestyle or forcing you to that lifestyle because you're doing a habit. And it's also solidifies the lifestyle every time you do the habit, whether it's good or bad. You're doing good habits, it solidifies you in a good lifestyle because the law of enforcement will take place. Also, if you're doing bad habits, it would solidify you in a bad lifestyle because of the law of enforcement is taking place. And we also said that the law of enforcement could end up being the law of reinforcement. So you're reinforcing something each time you do the habit. We also that was part three. We did say some things about the law of placement, and that turns to the law of replacement. And law of placement is establishing behavior. We said some things about the law of allowing, which is permitting behavior. So every day you're permitting yourself behavior. If you permit yourself to do the habit, you have submitted yourself to the lifestyle. So those are some things that we talked about in part three. Part four, we talked about in chapter uh, 9, we talked about the law of thinking. Um, yeah, law. No, I'm sorry, chapter 12, the law of thinking. That's law number 9. But the chapter 12, lesson 12, the law of thinking, which is your mental behavior. You know, you if you think about it, it won't be long before you do it. You know, you can't see what's in your mind, but the habits that you have will tell you and everyone else what you were thinking. You are actually, when you're thinking about something, you are premeditating. Pre means forward or beforehand. Meditate in this sense just mean to settle. So when it's settled in the mind, it won't be long before you settle on doing it in your life. So you're settling or prearranging in your mind the habits you're going to do. If you think about doing a bunch of bad habits, it won't be long before you do a bunch of bad habits. And the more you do a bunch of bad habits, you'll think about the bad habits you've done, and then you'll do more bad habits. Well, same thing go with good habits. You think about doing a bunch of good habits, it won't be long before you do a bunch of good habits, and then you do a bunch of good habits, you think about the good habits you did, and then you'll do more good habits, right? So those were the 4 parts that we have actually talked about. So that's part 4. And we also talked about the law of feeling in part 4, which is your emotional behavior. You know, we call it common sense. Bad habits are common and they make common sense to a bad lifestyle, and good habits are common and make common sense to a good lifestyle. So those are some of the things we talked about. So we talk I try to give a recap so we can, for those that might be meeting me for the first time and don't know about the program, they thought they missed it all. I try to catch you up to speed. Obviously, you can go back and go to intellectualradio.com and you can go back and look at the shows as often as you like. So we're in part 5. In part 5 today, we're going to come from the law of chapter 8, chapter 9, I'm sorry. And that is the law of consequences. So we're going to be in the law of consequences today. And the law of consequences is resulting behavior. Every day you're doing either good resulting behavior or bad resulting behavior. And the law of consequences will make sure you do one or the other. Now, when we look at the law of consequences, let's start here. Really, in life, everything is this, then that. This, then, THEN, that. So this is how our life works. Your life, my work life, everyone's life works this way. We're doing this, then that happens, right? So this, now it's not this, then, THAN, that. Meaning it's not one or the other, right? It's not this or that. It's not, one or the other there either. It's this, then that means something must happen so that something else can happen. And something has happened because something else has already happened. So you must understand that this is how the law of consequences works. See, you must do a habit, so then something else will follow the habit, which is the lifestyle. You're going to get a consequence with every habit that you do. Now, you may not get the consequence at the time you do the habit. Sometimes, you're going to get the consequence much later than you do the habit. But you must understand that this, then that will always happen. And when that occurs, it's always more than this. So you do a little this habit, and then you get back that big lifestyle in return. So when you look at the law of consequences, when you look at it that way, what you're saying is that you need to understand that consequence. Let's take a look at that word for a minute. Coming together and sequence. I just want to spend time on that. It means to follow. So when you do a habit, a lifestyle is following closely based on a habit that is connected to. So it's like this. The law of consequences work. You can't have an echo unless you first have a sound. If you never have a sound, you can't have an echo. Well, same thing with lifestyle. You can't have the lifestyle if you don't have the actual habit that actually went with it first. You do the habit, sound, you're going to get the lifestyle, echo. So look at it like this. You can't have a shadow without something being shadow. You got to have a thing so something be a shadow of the thing. Well, see, the shadow of a habit is always the lifestyle that you're living. You may not like the lifestyle you're living. That's because you're probably doing a habit that's creating that lifestyle. When you understand that the consequences are so closely to the habit, and this is why a lot of us stop doing good habits and start doing bad habits, because nothing happens to us immediately. We think because I did this bad habit, see, we don't realize that I did a bad habit and the bad lifestyle is following the bad habit. If I don't do the bad habit and do a good habit, then that means the good lifestyle is following the good habit. Bad lifestyles do not follow good habits, and good lifestyles do not follow bad habits. That's why I always said in each session here that bad habits would not allow you to live a good life, and good habits would not allow you to live a bad life. So when you understand that it's following something, that this lifestyle is following you, this is why when we try to move around to different places, different jobs or whatever, we have the same consequences because we're doing the same habits. We think it's sometimes the people, we think it's the area, the neighborhood, the company. We think it's all that a lot of times. But many of the times, 95% of the time, it has nothing to do with that. It really has something to do with our habits. This is why if you look at your life and you say, well, I had these same consequences when I was in my 20s, when in my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever age you may happen to be, my teens. Well, the reason why you're having the same consequences is because you've been doing the same habits since you've been a teenager. Now, that's good if you're doing good habits. That's terrible if you're doing bad habits, because like I shared with you in session 4, that every time you do the habit, you're getting stronger in the lifestyle. You're strengthening your behavior. So if you've been doing a habit since you've been in your teens and now you're 40, this habit is really, really strong. It doesn't mean that you can't change it and do something different, but you must understand that you have to, the law of thinking, consciously think about doing a good habit so that you can do a good habit. If not, then you'll find yourself in a position where you are doing the same habits over and over again, having the same consequences, and then you'll get good at trying to blame other people because of the consequences that you have, and not ever looking at yourself and blaming yourself because of the habits that you've done. So then blaming other people become a habit too. Anytime something goes wrong, you blame other people. Why? Because that's what you do. You've been doing it a long time. So when we do with consequences, you must understand that there's two parts of this consequence. It's called immediate and also eventually. The moment you do the habit, you have put yourself in a lifestyle immediately. However, when you get the consequence, then that would be eventually that would happen. It's like this. If every time you thought or done a bad habit or thought about doing a bad habit, right when you thought about doing this bad habit and started doing this bad habit, a brick came out of nowhere and hit you in the head. First thing you know, you probably doing the bad habit around your friends. So you think when your friends hit you in the head, like, hey man, who threw that brick at me? Right? So then you say, I'm gonna do this habit at home, and a brick come out of nowhere, boom, hit you in the head. You think, hey, what's going on? Must be ghosts or something, right? Hit me in the head. So I'm gonna do this in the basement, right? Do this habit, nobody can see me, and brick hit you in the head. It wouldn't take long for you to come to the conclusion that, you know what? I think I'm gonna stop doing this habit, because every time I think about doing it or doing this habit, I get hit upside the head with a brick. Well, see, this is why we keep doing bad habits, because nothing bad happens to me right away. So I do it again today. I do it again next Friday. I do it again next Friday and Saturday. I do it again next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I do it again next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I do it again next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. See, I keep doing it because nothing bad happens to me right away. So in a sense, I think I'm okay. Not understanding that consequence is following closely with the habit. Just because I may realize I'm in the bad lifestyle 20 years later, that's not when the bad lifestyle happened. I was in it 20 years ago. I just realized it 20 years later. And this is something that we all need to know. So you think that you're getting away from doing like, hey, I did a bad habit. Hey, nothing happened. No, you didn't get away. All you did was put yourself in a lifestyle. And like I shared with you last session, you paid for the lifestyle because the habit that you do is the currency that you use to pay for the lifestyle that you live in. So you made a deposit on the lifestyle, and now you're making payments on the lifestyle because the lifestyle is there. Again, we just don't realize it 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, right? When the doctor say, hey, your kidney's not any good, your liver not any good, you said, man, I can't figure it out. What you mean? What you mean? Then he said, well, what you been drinking? I drink soda pop all day, every day. Oh, well, that's probably why you've been doing that for 20 years. But that you didn't see that happening 20 years prior. right? Now, I'm not saying don't drink soda pop. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just giving you an example that usually we find out when things have a catastrophe. Then we say, hey, what happened? What's going on with my health? What's going on with my money? What's going on with my relationships? What's going on with all these different things? Because we always act surprised. Like, what? I'm broke. Right? What? I'm overweight. What? I mean, we act shocked like we don't know what happened. Not thinking that, I wonder, does this have something to do with those pizzas I'm eating at midnight? I eat pizza every night at midnight, whole pizza by myself, right? Not thinking I've been doing this for 18 years and I'm wondering why they say I got congested heart failure. I don't know why that happened. Must be hereditary, right? No, what it is eating pizza every night for 20 years. That may have something to do with it, right? So you want to understand that that's what happens if you do something bad. Now, just suppose if you did a good habit, thought about doing a good habit, did a good habit, and a bunch of rose petals hit you on the head, right? You don't feel like you'll be damaged or anything, I don't think, right? So every time you thought about doing this good habit or did the good habit, all these rose petals hit you on the head. Like, man, this is wonderful, right? And you said, man, this is good. You know what you would do? You say, I'm gonna keep doing this good habit because all these rose petals hit me on the head. I mean, it's just wonderful, right? Well, this is why we stop doing good habits, because we don't see nothing good happen to us right away. Since nothing good happened to me right away, I said, you know what? This stuff not working. I've been doing this and trying to act right whole 2 whole weeks in a row. It's not doing any good. Or maybe I've been doing this for a whole year. Man, I've been trying to exercise for a whole year. I get out there every day and walk around the track and do a whole mile every day. And I'm still, I'm okay. I lost a little weight, but I'm still bigger than I want to be. So we say it must not be working. This stuff is not working. You must realize every time you do a good habit, it is always putting a good lifestyle close to you. Because just like the consequence happened with a bad lifestyle, a consequence happened for a good lifestyle too. So when you look at immediate and eventually, you are in the lifestyle immediately once you do the habit. Eventually, you will realize it. So let's look at mediate, like I just shared with you. The root word immediate, if you research it out, it means to settle. You are settling in a lifestyle every time you do the habits, whether you realize it or not. It can be unbeknown to you, but you are settling into a good lifestyle or you're settling into a bad lifestyle by the habits that you're doing. This is happening immediately. However, eventually you'll realize it. Now, let's look at the word eventually for a minute. The first four letters in the word eventually is even. See, one thing about a lifestyle and habits, they will end up being even. When you think of something even, you think of something maybe smooth or level. See, bad habits will level out a bad lifestyle for you. Good habits will level out a good lifestyle for you. They will be even with one another. Same thing with a good lifestyle, bad lifestyle. It goes with each other. So you have to realize they'll be even, right? They'll level out, right? And when something is even or leveled out, sometimes it's smooth. See, if you do a habit, you make a smooth transition into the lifestyle. Why? Because it's close. It's right next to the habit. The habit come in and bring in the lifestyle right along with it. And next thing you know, you live in the lifestyle, can't figure out what happened, right? But that happens on a good habit too. Next thing you know, you lost the 20 pounds you tried to lose. You don't even know how you did it. You just stopped eating after 7 o'clock. That's all you did. I'm not going to eat after 7 o'clock, and I'm going to do me 10 sit-ups, right? And you just did that. Next thing you know, you went down 2 dress sizes. And people say, what did you do? What did you do? And you trying to think, oh, well, I really didn't do anything. I just stopped eating after 7 o'clock and did 10 sit-ups. But you've been doing that for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. And now you're at the size you want to be, right? Again, when I use these examples of weight and things like that, I'm not coming against anybody's weight. I'm just trying to use something that you can see tangible. Habits go with everything, like I stated in part one and like I stated at the beginning of this. Habits, everything you do is a habit. You can have a bad attitude. Again, that's a habit, right? You can actually be a nice person. That's a habit too, because there's some nice people out here in the planet, right? And that's a habit because everybody not nice. And that's a habit too. Some people like to be mean. That's their habit, right? And they keep saying, I don't know why I can't get no friends. I don't know why I have any friends. It's probably because you're mean, right? You might want to be with a mean person. Now, we tolerate you when we're 20 when you're mean, but we get old, we don't deal with mean. People don't want to deal with mean people, right? But that's a habit that you have. That goes back to your thinking habit and things of that nature. So when you look at closely related, immediate, and eventually, The next word in eventually is event. And when you think of an event, it can be a party, it can be a sporting event, a musical event, a movie event. There's something when you get an event, have an event, there's usually some type of invitation. Hey, having this party, you are invited to this event. An event is an occasion, right? So when you do the habit, you have accepted the invite to the lifestyle. Now you said, no, 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 no. I don't want a bad lifestyle. No, 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 no. I don't want that. Right. Well, if you do the bad habit, you have accepted the invite to be at the event or the occasion. If you have a lot of bad occasions going on in your life, that's proof that you're accepting a lot of invites or doing a lot of bad habits so that you can actually be at these bad events or these bad occasions. Well, again, on the other side, if you have a lot of good occasions happening in your life, that means that you have accepted the invite by doing the habit. And this is why you have a lot of good occasions. And this is what I want you to see and understand. And hopefully you got this throughout the whole series, that a person that's living a good lifestyle, just say, suppose you're not living a good lifestyle or what you want to do or do better, and you see other people living a good lifestyle. I want you to know they're not any different than you. They're human. They put their pants on the same way you do. I don't care how long, old they are, young they are, tall, short, whatever, right? They're human just like you. If they can do a good habit, so can you. You can do it too, right? You don't have to be bound by the bad habits that you've been doing. I stated that numerous times throughout this. You can change your life by changing your habits. If you want to live a better life, you need to get better habits. And you can do that by looking at the habits that you're doing that's bad and do the total opposite, because good habits and bad habits are diametrically opposed to one another. They're nowhere near one another. Now, they both of those habits have in common, they equal power to your making an impact in your life. But in regards to what they are, they're nowhere near being the same. So if you don't like something in an area of your life, maybe you don't like how your spiritual life is going, right? And you got bad habits there. If you do the opposite, you can have good habits in your spiritual life. Well, you can take that same philosophy and take that to your relationships. You can take that same philosophy and take it to your health. You can take it to your finances, your education, your career. You can take the same philosophy and you can improve your life when you remove bad habits from your life. And the best way to remove a bad habit from your life is by doing a good habit that's opposite than the bad habit. And the better you get at that, then the better you are going to live your lifestyle. Now, does that mean that you will never have a problem or a challenge in your life? No, it doesn't mean that. Does it mean that every day is going to all be sunny and bright for you? No, some things in life are just going to happen, right? But you still are in control of doing your habits. You have the power of choice, like we discussed in one of the other sessions. You have a power of choice to choose what habit you're going to do at any given time. The law of replacement, like we stated in session 4, is that you have space in your life. See, I have space between these two books. I can place something else there, right? I can place something else there. I can choose to put this here, or I can choose to put that here, right? I have that choice. And every day I wake up, every hour of the day, I have spaces of time that I can place some activity in, which are the habits that I'm doing. You have that same thing too. You can say, man, you just understand, man. I've been messed up for the last 5, 10, 15 years. You just understand. I was raised this way. Hey, man, I do understand. We all have challenges, right? However, that does not mean that you can use that to do good habits. If you want to live a good lifestyle, even though you were raised in a bad way, even though you might have bad friends, even though you might have a bad resume, a life resume, even though all that is true, what does that have to do with the space of time between now and the next hour? It has nothing to do with that. Now in the next hour, you can do something now in the next hour. You may say, well, it's only now in the next hour. What about the last 10 years? Listen, it's nothing you can do to erase the last 10 years. Nothing. You can't erase it. It will not go away. It is what you have done. It is what has happened. There's nothing you can do about erasing. You can learn from it, but you can't relive it. However, if you start using that, you only think about the bad habits you did, and guess what you will put in your space? Because you have to think about it first. If you get in the mind, it's going to be in the life. Then you think about the bad habit, you do another bad habit similar to it, and put it in the space of the time in the next hour. And then you did that for 3 hours in a row. Then you did the whole afternoon. Then you did the whole evening. Then you did the whole day. Next thing you know, you take it to the next day. And you did the same thing. So this is why you are in control, that you can have the power of choice working on your behalf to help you live a better life if that's something you choose to do. Now, when you think of this, I said that a lifestyle is following a habit, and it's closely following. That's sequential. That's where we get the word sequential from, right? One after another. When you say these are sequential, that means it's 2, 3, 4, 5. They're going in order. They right next to each other, right? Well, that's the same thing with your habits, right? But here's something else for you. That you have this parallel type of life. I do, you do, we all do. And parallel mean near, just like sequence or consequences, right? They're near. Good life is in parallel, it's side by side, right? This book is side by side by this book, parallel, right? So this is why you need to understand that your lifestyle is side by side with you, side by side with the habit. You do the habit, the lifestyle is right next to the habit, which means the habit is right, the lifestyle is right next to you. And when you understand that, you'll try to do more good habits. Why? Even if things don't look all that good, the lifestyle is right next to you immediately. You may not realize it until much later, but you must know that the lifestyle is right next to you. It's parallel. The habit cannot go anywhere without bringing the lifestyle right along with it. That's good if it's a good habit, even though I'm only doing this for the first time for the next hour. The lifestyle is right there too. And it is stay in my life, and stay around me, stay near me, circle me, become my circumstances. Circumstances, circle means circle. Stances means stand. You are standing in the middle of your circumstances. And your circumstances are created by the habits that you do. You do the habits, you will change the circumstances. You'll change the circle around you, not just people, but the circumstances around you will change, not because you are different than anybody else. The circumstances will change because the habits you have done have changed. And that's the good thing about doing good habits. Yeah, again, I know it doesn't look like when you do a one little small good habit here and do one small good habit there. I know it doesn't look like your life is a total, it was this color, now it's a different color. But you must know, because I'm teaching you this, right? And it's in the book too, right? Purchase the book, you find it there. I'm not saying things that's not in the book. Someone told me that, man, your book sound like you. I said, oh, really? I mean, shouldn't it sound like me? I wrote it, right? Well, so the things I'm saying here are actually the things that's in the book, right? That you can actually change your life by changing your habits. Yeah, it's a whole lot of things. People say, I need some good luck. I need a good luck shoe or good luck, whatever. Hey, teach his own. You think you all these. But all you need are good habits. Good habits is better than good luck. Trust me. You don't need good luck when you got good habits, right? Now people say, no, I need good luck. No, get you some good habits and people will start thinking you lucky. Man, they so lucky. Look what happened to them, man. I wish I was lucky as them. No, just get the good habits and you'll have the good results, because the law of consequences is resulting behavior. Every day you're getting results. Every day. Now you're getting either good results or you're getting bad results. And you determine which one of those results you're going to get, right? You're going to determine which one of those results you're going to live with. Now, that's a connection with the law of attraction. Now, I know the law of attraction is spoken about a lot by people, and I'm going to speak about it a little bit differently than probably what most people hear. Now, law of attraction is considered in most cases, a positive thing, right? The law of attraction, think positive, boom, you have positive. That has some merit, obviously, right? However, here's how I use the law of attraction. See, habits are magnetic. They're just like a magnet. See, this is why you need to understand what habits you're doing, because bad habits are like a magnet to a bad lifestyle, right? Good habits are like a magnet to a good lifestyle. If there's not any metal around for a magnet, the magnet won't stick on anything. But once the magnet get around metal, it'll be drawn to it. See, a lot of times we must make an assessment, examine ourselves, examine our habits, because some things you are attracted to. Now, if you are attracted to bad habits, it won't be long before you end up being attracted to a bad lifestyle. And if you're attracted to a bad lifestyle, it won't be long before you be attracted to bad habits. Well, the opposite of that is true as well. If you're attracted to good habits, it won't be long before you become attracted to a good lifestyle. If you're attracted to a good lifestyle, it won't be long before you'll be attracted to good habits. If you never get attracted to the habits, here's the reality: you will never get into the lifestyle. You can say, no, I'm not attracted to those habits. Those habits just look ugly to me. Now, that's cool if they bad habits. But if these are good habits that you need to do, and you say, no, I'm not attracted to those good habits, I'm going to let you know you're probably not going to be living in a good lifestyle because you're going to do something all day. You're awake. You're doing habits. Either you're attracted to bad habits or you're attracted to good habits. If you admire people that do bad habits, then that means you are also admiring or attracted to a bad lifestyle. And see, now you have to ask yourself, who are your heroes? Now, heroes, I'm not saying somebody like famous, don't have to be famous, but who are your heroes? Mama, daddy, sister, brother, son, daughter, cousin, aunt, uncle, best friend. Who are your heroes? Because if you're attracted to those people and they have bad habits, that means either you're doing the bad habits right now, or it won't be long before you're doing the same bad habits your heroes doing. Now, if your hero's doing good habits, and you'll be doing good habits right now, or it won't be long before you're doing the same good habits your heroes are doing, or your sheroes, right? Whoever that may be. You have to examine or assess the habits that you're doing so that you can find out what you are attracted to. Because a lot of us are attracted to some bad stuff because we think only time we can be happy maybe is when we drink it. We drinking everything that's happy. See, it goes back to the emotional behavior. I associate having fun with this habit. I do this habit. I have fun. I have fun. I do this habit. Now the habit can be bad, but then I found out 5 years later how bad the habit was. But I realized it then. But the moment I did the habit, I was already in the lifestyle. So how much do you want to live in a good lifestyle? How often do you want to live in a good lifestyle? Like I explained to you once before, is it a lot of work? Yes, it is. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? Yes. However, is it a lot of work? Yes. It's a lot of work because you have this life and you have so many different areas of your life that you're doing habits in. You're doing habits with your finances. But don't you need money? Of course you do, right? You're doing habits in your relationships. Don't you need to be in relationships? Of course. And I'm not just talking about intimate relationships, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm not just talking about that. You have relationships with maybe your parents, your children, your friends, your co-workers. Those are relationships too. And you have habits in those relationships. Well, same thing with your occupation. You have habits in your occupation. And don't you want to actually have good habits there? So it takes a conscious decision. Think about it, like I shared with you last week. You take the conscious decision. You have to think about doing a habit consciously, and you do it so often, eventually it becomes something you would do unconsciously. It'll be something done consciously, and you do it until you can do it unconsciously, right? So you might have to focus on different things. I got to focus on what I'm going to do, making a budget with my money. Now, you may say, well, I'm 50 years old, man. I've been getting paid, working a job since I've been 15 years old. I've never done that. But see, you didn't file 5 bankruptcies. I mean, maybe you're not doing something well. Okay, the first time is something else happened, but you been worked the job for 30 years and filed a bankruptcy 5 times, and you had the same job for 30 years. Isn't something wrong with that? And that's how you have to look at it. Like, what am I not doing right? Because I've been working doing this for 30 years and have filed 5 bankruptcies. I am doing something wrong financially. My habits are bad for me financially. I need to change my habits so I can change my financial life. Right? Same thing with anything else. So you have to do those things. I'm a small frame guy, but I got to watch my weight and watch what I eat just like you do. Okay, just because you're a small frame guy, don't mean to say, well, I eat up everything. I eat a pizza at midnight too. No, I eat a pizza at midnight. You can't be small frame and short and then be round. Ain't no sexy about that. I got to take care of myself just like you got to take care of yourself, right? So you have to all these areas of your life you're looking at, right? Are you doing excessive behavior that's bad and hurting yourself? And again, when you start doing bad habits, you hurt people that you love too. You hurt people that love you because of your bad habits. Eventually, they'll start doing bad habits, and then they'll hurt you back, right? And this could be parents, this could be friends, because you want to actually be an inspiration to people. You don't have to be a superstar. You don't have to be an athlete to be an inspiration to people, right? Just you can be a superstar and an athlete to superstar and be an inspiration to your children, to your spouse, to your parents, to your siblings, to your cousins, to your neighbors. But if you're doing a bunch of bad habits, you're not inspiring anybody. Well, not inspiring them to do anything good, right? So you have to actually start doing good habits so you can inspire yourself. Bad habits do not inspire you. You know, the word inspire is E-E-N, inspire means spirit. So spirit in, right? So when you're doing a bunch of bad habits, you're dirtying up your spirit inside you. This is why people have these sad attitudes and mad attitudes and negative attitudes. You can't do a bunch of bad habits 7 days a week and think you're gonna be happy. Think you're gonna look at things positive. How you gonna look at things positive? Everything you're doing is dirty. The spirit inside is dirty because you're doing all these bad habits. Then you see all your friends doing bad habits, all your family doing bad habits. Now that's not true, all everybody doing that, but then you're more attracted to that because that's what you do. When you get more attracted to doing good habits, then obviously you will start living a better lifestyle. And again, just because you done well in the last week, the last month, the last year, that does not mean you get haughty because you had a good year. You had 12 good months. That's wonderful. Okay, you might have 5 good years. Hey, that's wonderful too. But that does not give you permission to be haughty and look down on other people because they kind of struggling with some things. Just because you're not struggling with it does not mean someone else is. And what someone else's struggle may be may not be yours, but what your struggle is may not be theirs. The bottom line is we all got issues and struggles we're trying to get through. You know, mine may be big to me, would be little to you. Yours may be little big to you, but little to me, right? But we all are struggling. But when you do good habits, someone else, you may say, "Hey, I have a, I don't know, we just say a bad thinking. I got a bad attitude." We say that, and you have that. You start getting a better attitude. You won't. You'll be surprised that you would inspire somebody that might have a drug habit that they're trying to kick because they realize how bad your attitude it was at one time, and you got a better attitude because you got better habits regarding your attitude. You start thinking better, start feeling better, and start doing better, right? Well, then they'll tell you 5 years later, you know what? You helped me get off drugs. And you're gonna say, well, how do I help you get off drugs? I didn't say anything about drugs because you have better habits. You don't know who is watching you. You don't know who is following you. You don't know who got their eye on you and you their hope, you their inspiration. You have no idea. It can be a young child, but it can be a person twice your age. It can be a person of a different gender. It can be a person of a different color. It can be a person of a different race, religion, all those different things. You don't know who you are inspiring. And if you're doing bad habits, you're not inspiring them at all. But if you, and I'm not saying live for other people, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is doing good habits will inspire other people and you don't even have to try. But just doing good habits will make people say, you know what? Man, he did that. He's doing that. You know what? Maybe I can do this in my life. Man, yeah, yeah. Maybe, I mean, he's cutting this grass every week. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I cut my grass every 2 weeks. Right? Now they may not they lawn may not look as good as yours, but you know what? You inspired them to try to keep their grass looking nice. You inspired them to try to dress better or look better, or talk better, act better, right? And you didn't try to do that on purpose, but you had these good habits that you've been doing and how you've been living. And this is what has helped you. So when you're attracted to the light, the habits, you are attracted to the lifestyle. You must understand that habits and the lifestyle is like a train on train tracks. The tracks are the habits, and the train is the lifestyle. That's you. You're gonna be on there, and you can't deviate from the tracks when you were trained. If you deviate and fall off the tracks, they call that an accident, right? But when a train is on the tracks, it just follow wherever the tracks are going. When you laying down these tracks of habits, your life will just follow those tracks. Like I shared with you last time. You show me your routine, you just show me what route you're on. The route you on will be just identical to the routine you have. They will match. Habits match lifestyles, and lifestyles match habits. The more you understand that premise, the more you get that involved into your mental capacities and get into your heart and focus on doing good habits. Yeah, some days here's the reality. You're gonna fall off the wagon. Hey, you know, some days you're gonna say, man, I've been trying to stop this, man. I did good for 6 months. You're gonna fall off of it. But if you know how to do 6 months, you know how to do another 6 months. See, I don't care what type of bad habit you had. All you need to do is do a good habit one time. You need some evidence. You do what if you can say, I'm trying to stop smoking, man. I've been smoking for 25 years. All we need is an hour. Can you stop for an hour between 1 and 2? Man, it's gonna be tough. Can you stop between 1 and 1:30? I think I can do between 1 and 1:30. All right, all you need is a proof. You got 30 minutes. Just do 30 minutes again at 1:30. And then at 2 o'clock, just do 30 minutes again. Because you're a good 30-minute person. You understand? Now you did a whole day. Now you did every Tuesday. Now you do a whole week. Now you did a whole month. And this is how you get back on track, right? This is how you actually put yourself in position to do something better in your life with the habits that you're doing. So I've said a lot about habits. I got about I think about 10 minutes left. So I'm gonna share with you each law briefly to kind of close this thing out so you can understand what's in the book. Obviously, you want to purchase the book, you can contact me at fullofpurposemedia@gmail.com. Obviously, you get an autographed copy of the book. So I used to be in the military at one point, right? Years ago, right? Decades ago. And they have a thing called a code of conduct in the military, right? And something that everyone has to follow. And you and I have a code of conduct too. We don't have to be in the military to have a code of conduct, but you have a code of conduct too, which are the habits that you do. They're your code of conduct. In other words, your habits are how you conduct your life, right? And you're going to follow those habits. You're going to do those habits because they're how you follow your life. So once you understand that and you understand that the laws of habit and how to use them to your benefit, because if you don't use the laws of habit to your benefit, then they probably going to be habits that you're using to your detriment. See, if you allow bad habits to run your life, it won't be long before those bad habits ruin your life. Bad habits will you ruin your life when you allow them to run your life in any area of your life at any time in your life. So you don't want to live a ruined life. I know you don't, because you're looking at me here, right? You wouldn't spend the time with me for the last 5 sessions, or if this is the first session you with. If you wanted to live a ruined life, you don't want to live a ruined life. You want to live a better life. Well, the way you do that is obviously understanding the laws of habit. So here's law number one. And no law is, even though I'm saying law number one and going down the list and everything, there's no hierarchy. No law is probably more important than the other law. They all work together. They help you live a good life, and it help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. So law number one is the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is compelling behavior. Every day you are either compelled to do good behavior or you're compelled to do bad behavior. And the law of attraction will make sure you do one or the other. Compelling to do good behavior or being compelled to do good behavior is what you need to do with the law of attraction to help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. Law number two. Law number two is the law of compounding. The law of compounding is building behavior. Every day you're either building good behavior or you're building bad behavior. And the law of compounding will make sure you do one or the other. Building good behavior or building good habits with the law, having good habits compound on one another is how you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. Law number three. Law number three is the law of choice. The law of choice is selecting behavior. Every day, you're either selecting good behavior or you're selecting bad behavior, and the law of choice will make sure you do one or the other. Every day, you're selecting good behavior and choosing to do good behavior. You are putting yourself in the position to do good habits. You are turning a bad life into a good life and turning a good life into a great life. Law number four, the law of contribution. The law of contribution is endorsing behavior. Every day, you're either endorsing good behavior or you're endorsing bad behavior. And the law of contribution will make sure you do one or the other. You're paying for the lifestyle by the habits that you're doing. The habits that you do is the currency that you use to pay for the lifestyle you're going to live. If you're actually endorsing good habits, if you are contributing to doing good habits, it will help you turn a bad life into a good life and help you turn a good life into a great life. Law number five, the law of opposite. The law of opposite is doing different behavior. Every day you're doing either different good behavior or different bad behavior, and the law of opposite will make sure you do one or the other. When you do different good habits and different behavior, it will help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. Law number 6, the law we went over as a foundation for this session, the law of consequences. The law of consequences is resulting behavior. Every day you're either doing good resulting behavior or you're doing bad resulting behavior. And the law of consequence will make sure you do one or the other. When you do resulting good habits, then you are actually working the law of consequences, and it'll help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. Law number 7 is the law of examining. And the law of examining is assessing behavior. And every day you are assessing good behavior or you're assessing bad behavior. And the law of examining will make sure you do one or the other. Every day you're being tested. You will get what your habits predict. The lifestyle you live in now is a self-fulfilling prophecy of the habits you did yesterday. You will predict your tomorrow based on the habits you have today. So when you do good habits and you do them based on assessing good habits and examining good habits, they will help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. Law number 8 is the law of pleasure. And the law of pleasure is enjoying behavior. And every day you're either enjoying good behavior or you're enjoying bad behavior. And the law of pleasure will make sure you do one or the other. And when you enjoy the behavior and the good habits, enjoying good habits will make sure you have a pleasant experience. And that will help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. Number 9. I think that was that number 9. Well, the next one, the law of thinking. The law of thinking is, I'm sorry, that's number 10. The law of thinking is mental behavior. And mental behavior, either you're doing good mental behavior or bad mental behavior. Every day you're doing this. And the law of thinking will make sure you do one or the other. And when you think good habits, you put yourself in a position to do good habits. And when you do good habits, then that helps you think more about doing good habits. When you have the mentality of doing good habits and using the law of thinking, it would help you turn a bad life into a good life, and then a good life into a great life. The next habit, this is number 10. That was number 9. Is the law of feeling, which is emotional behavior. And emotional behavior, every day you're doing either good emotional behavior or bad emotional behavior. And the law of feeling will make sure you do one or the other. When you feel good, you do good. When you do good, you feel good. Feel something, do something, feel something. When you feel and do good emotional behavior, it'll help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. The next one, number 11, the law of instinct. The law of instinct is trusting behavior. Every day you're either trusting good behavior or bad behavior, and the law of instinct will make sure you do one or the other. When you trust doing good habits and do them instinctively, it would help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. The next one, the law of allowing. The law of allowing is permitted behavior, which is law number 12. It's permitted behavior. And every day you're either permitting yourself to do good behavior or you're permitting yourself to do bad behavior. And the law of allowing will make sure you do one or the other. When you permit yourself to do good habits or you have submitted yourself to a lifestyle, permitting yourself to do good habits will help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. Number 13. I got a couple minutes. Number 13. The law of, I'm sorry. Number 13. What's number 13, Earl? Wow. Number 13 is the law of placement. The law of placement is establishing behavior. And establishing behavior, every day you're establishing good behavior or bad behavior, and the law of of placement will make sure you do one or the other. The law of placement will turn to the law of replacement because no habit is permanent. All habits are temporary. When you use the law of placement in your life and establish good habits, you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. And the last one, number 14, is the law of enforcement. And the law of enforcement is strengthening behavior. And every day, either you are strengthening good behavior or bad behavior, and the law of enforcement will make sure you do one or the other. When you do a habit, it'll force you into a lifestyle. When you enforce good habits into your life, it will help you turn a bad life into a good life and turn a good life into a great life. Those are all 14 of the laws of habit. I hope that you get it. I hope you get the book because it's more. It's more of them than that. And I hope you learned something in this series. Again, this is part 5 of the series here on Intellectual Radio. I do appreciate you taking the time to listen to this series. Look forward to the next series that we do. And keep in mind that great people like yourself will have been born great. However, you need to work on yourself to become greater. And I'll see you next time.